Top 5 magic tricks that went horribly wrong. 5. Joseph Burris. Comparing himself to the famed Harry Houdini, Joseph Burris arranged for a Halloween night spectacle in 1990 where he would settle into a glass coffin and have 9 tons of dirt and cement poured over him. The performance took place at Blackbeard's Family Fun Center in Fresno, California. After being lowered 7 feet in the ground, a chained-up Burris waited while assistants directed a cement truck to unload its contents over the coffin. After one false start, the chain around his neck was too tight, Burris made a second attempt. The cement crushed the coffin, suffocating him. It was a morbid homage to Houdini. He had also died on Halloween night. 4. The Chinese Imposter and the Bullet Catch. William Ellsworth Robinson, otherwise known as Chung Ling Soo, was an American magician who never spoke English on stage, and when speaking to journalists, he always used an interpreter. At the time of his death, he was one of the most famous magicians in the world. The fateful accident happened at Wood Green Empire in London on March 23, 1918. Chung Ling Soo was performing his version of the bullet catch. Sadly, he did not have the gun cleaned out properly after the last time he had performed the trick. This caused a buildup of gunpowder in the ramrod tube, which gave it enough force to launch the bullet into Chung Ling Soo's chest. Breaking character for the first time, he said, "Oh my God, bring down the curtain, something has happened." He died the next day in the hospital. 3. Benjamin Rucker. Black Herman was the preeminent African-American magician of the time. Because of the Jim Crow laws, he played to mostly black audiences in the South, but was popular elsewhere. One of his signature illusions, which he used to promote his upcoming shows, was being buried alive then exhumed 3 days later, after which he'd go on with the show. That is why no one believed he really died when he had a heart attack at the end of one of his shows in April 1934. Using the disbelief to their advantage, Black Herman's promoters charged people to get into the funeral to see that Black Herman was, in fact, dead. 2. Jeff Rayburn Hooper. On July 7, 1984, 23-year-old magician Jeff Rayburn Hooper was practicing an escape trick that he planned on performing later that afternoon for the Winona Lake Bible Conference. The trick involved escaping from shackles while being submerged in the lake. Unfortunately, Hooper would not make it to the performance. While rehearsing the stunt, Hooper handcuffed himself and jumped into Winona Lake outside Fort Wayne, Indiana. Then he swam out about 100 yards from the shore. Hooper was able to free himself from the shackles. He surfaced and yelled to his assistant for help, but because of the high winds, he was unable to swim to shore. The wind was also a major problem when it came to helping him, as rescuers were unable to reach Hooper. He drowned in 1.6 meters, 6 feet of water. 1. Janaka Basanyaki. 24-year-old Janaka Basanyaki from Sri Lanka. Basanyaki was trying to beat the world record for longest time buried alive. When most magicians do this, there is an escape illusion they perform so they don't actually spend the time buried. The exception is David Blaine, who spent 6 days being buried alive, but he was a professional with a team of experts. Basanyaki wasn't a professional. Instead, on March 5, 2012, he got his family to bury him in a pit 3 meters, 10 feet, deep, and then covered it with soil and wood. He was buried for 7.5 hours before being dug up. They found him not breathing and took him to the hospital, where he was pronounced dead. The sad thing is, the Guinness Book of World Records doesn't even recognize this record because it's too dangerous and they don't want people